Reaching a big milestone in another big year. Time just keeps on marching on, that is crystal clear. 23 full years of questing, no banks or deaths, I've got my tricks. RuneScape 3 Hardcore Ultimate Ironman, questing through 2006. Welcome back to September 20th, 2006. Next training arc here, since we are out of money for construction. We are going to be doing some Slayer. Went through all of the Slayer Masters that we have available, which is all of them currently. Deciding which ones would be best. Combination between what tasks they assign, how many of the tasks are actually correct, how many things that don't exist yet we would need to worry about. And we've come up with Cheldar being the best we can get. Also very conveniently located here in Xanaris. We just use the ferry ring to get here with our lunar staff. It's very nice. But yeah, the tasks that are available here are mostly doable. There's a few things that are still quest locked, which means we can't get them anyways, so that's perfect. There's a few things that are too high of a level that we can't get them as Slayer tasks yet, which is also great. And only a few things that are actually incorrect. So we're going to be getting Slayer tasks right here. We need to be aware of the whole Slayer point system, which also still does not exist. We can use that to cancel any tasks that don't exist either. But depending on if we actually get a task streak going on here, determine whether or not we ever get any points anyways. We will see. And if we get a task that we really don't want to do, we can go and cancel it in Birthorpe. And that will be perfectly fine. There's definitely some tasks in here that we might not actually want to do. Let's see what our first task is here. What are we starting with? I need another assignment. Excellent, you're doing great. Your next task is 100 grotworms. That's literally one of the tasks that don't exist. Do we have any Slayer points from previous? Probably not. Looks like 8. That's not enough to cancel. So we get to go to Birthorpe and cancel our task. And get a new lower level task there. It's not really canceling, it's more like swapping it out for a replacement task. Grotworms. That's literally one of 2 tasks that we possibly could have gotten, which would need to go be canceled. Or swapped, really. The other one is Fungal Magi. There's also Crawling Hands, which are on Cheldar's list, which shouldn't be. But those are on the skip list too, so we can't skip it. And Bronze Dragons would be the one that we would skip by ourselves, because we don't want to do that. And we would have to skip that. So, gonna go and fight some low-level things, and I'll be fine. Also gonna go and get more supplies for Slayer here. Get some nature runes for Alk and stuff. Fire staff to supply the fire runes for the Alks. And because of what is going to be happening in the near future, and for the inventory space purposes, I'm going to be alking the adamant hatchet. Not that it alks for too much. Maybe we'll just drop it. Yeah, magic XP. Something. Anyways, I'm not going to bother showing any of the really, really low level tutorial skips tasks. They are just really low level things. Not super important. Not going to get a lot of XP. Yep. I guess technically this is a higher level task. Mountain Trolls. Technically this was a skip task that we did, but there's not the lower level trolls yet. So instead we had to come up to these guys. Got a few coin drops, a few salvage, which replaced other things that should have been actual things. And also an Erit seed. I guess we could plant an Erit seed. That's something. More convenient than a lot of things we can make for potions. Just make super attacks. I'll just plant this in Valador. That should be good. There's the first real Slayer task here. unfortunately, basilisks. Luckily, they've been rebalanced to not be insanely powerful anymore. Just a reasonable amount. 1.5 trips instead of like 5. So, I can work with that. Did need to go and purchase a dragon mace and mirror shield though, so that cost some money. Luckily they dropped a whole bunch of coins and alchables. So made 107k here. Some profit from Slayer. Depending on the task, of course. Next task completed. Calphites. Specifically went for Calphite workers, because they're the lowest level one. Slightly higher level than they used to be, which is wild. Missing plenty of drops here, but also slightly more coins. The salvages are all wrong. They're mithril instead of, like, iron. It's weird. Damage-wise, Dragon Halberd is hidden very nicely. Did some 420 damage one-hit KOs here. Could even be slightly better if we went and got a Black Mask. But the amount of time it would take to get that drop from Cave Horrors honestly probably would not be worth it for the amount of Slayer we intend to do here. It would be an idea, though, for later. Sometimes things just work out. Next task is Cave Horrors here. So that is a possibility of getting the Black Mask, I suppose. It's also a possibility of getting 79 attack. 100% chance, because it just happened. That is a quest requirement. Very good. Looking for future requirements and stuff. Definitely thinking about it. As far as drop table is concerned, it's a mess. An absolute mess here. Pretty much besides the Black Mask, the only thing we really can get here are a few logs. Somewhat noted, somewhat not, different quantities, and just a mess not going to deal with. And coins. With a lot of drop table updates, the amount of coins is changed quite a bit. This one really kind of takes the cake here. 2,000 coins, that is more, but not unreasonable, since the rest of the drop table doesn't exist. But it does go up to 12,000. So, if it's an excessive amount, I'm not picking it up. I really could. But we don't want this to be a full moneymaker. Then again, we're missing out on all of the other drops, so it's still a lot more, though. Like 3k, still reasonable. And also, we got a nice safe spot going here, which that's also good. Very effective. Dragon Halberd. You'll have to see it. Unfortunately, no Black Mask from this task. But it was much less than the drop rate, so we can't be too surprised. Good amount of Slayer XP, though. Definitely take that. 66 Slayer. That is nothing. Bloodveld task completed. Coins, alchables, and meat pizzas, which is definitely an interesting drop. I don't know if I'd really trust food off of a Bloodveld, but when it works, I suppose. Harpy Bug Swarms task. Not great. Not very strong, which makes it easier for not needing a bunch of food or anything. Need to get a bug lantern, though. So, that was something. Drops-wise, got some alks and coins. Seems to be a general theme here. Not too much in the way of supplies just yet. Especially at lower level monsters here. Another Calphite task. Technically, we could go further into the caves, fight stronger Calphites, but don't really want to. Here's a very important level. 80 attack. Milestone. Achievement. Very cool. And lots of unlocks. Bane weaponry, Goliath gloves, chaotic weaponry, Gorgonite weaponry, Brawler's knockout necklace, attuned crystal weaponry, Swordy McSwordface, ancient defender, and the second age sword. Some of those are much, much more difficult to get than others. None of them exist yet, but there's definitely some in here that we are very interested in getting. And that is about where we want to stop attack for now. We've got good enough. Actual troll task from Sheldar complete. Like 10 times as many as we got from Turiel skipping. So that took a little bit longer. A little bit of money though. Alks, a couple runes. Had to go and get a leaf-bladed spear. Well, go and get, not really. It was just at the Slayer Master when I got the task. Duroths. Here we go. Got a collection log for Turoth boots. Those don't exist yet. Just a bit of alchemies, seeds, mystic road bombs. Full mystic would definitely be something we could get and will be more useful later, but not really because we have lunars. But anyways, plenty of salvage, which is replacing things that should have been alks and coins and such. Not too many things still beyond just money. And then I'm honestly fine with it. We need more money for construction too, so works for me. There's another thing that doesn't exist yet. An offhand leaf-bladed sword. A lot of reasons that doesn't exist. My goodness. And also the task is complete. So that's also something. Very close to the level here. Get some more of these alks here. The things that are supposed to be alked are 1, more common than they used to be, and 2, alk for more. So the exact numbers here are definitely a little bit off. I think we'll balance this by not allowing farming of certain monsters here. We got other things we want to do for money making anyways. But yeah, for only the bit of Slayer we're going to be training here, we're definitely making a little bit. It's all weirdness, trying to have drop tables that don't exist anymore. Okay, Dagonoth's task. Actually very, very relevant. But I think it would be best for us to do updates first, for reasons that will make a lot of sense. And boy, are there a lot of updates. On September 27th, 2006, there were 4 separate news posts for all the various updates. First one, Postbag from the Hedge, number 11. Get your answers to your questions from Baba Yaga, Hill Giants, a poem from a crab, all sorts of wacky stuff, and sometimes tidbits of things that are happening later. Next section is about interfaces. The combat, worn items, and options interfaces were updated, using icons instead of small text for a lot of things. Make it easier to see what you're doing. The interfaces have been changed quite a few times since then. We're currently rocking the very customizable one here. Well, that's good. Next section is area sounds. Stuff like waterfalls that get louder when you get closer to them, birds, ocean, howling in the wilderness, all sorts of ambient noises. Still a question how we want to maybe deal with sound at some point. It's a bit more because we keep on cutting to different scenes and such. Awkward pauses and cuts and things. Could just put in a different music track over the entire thing, but going to separate areas, switching around, we're fine. In other updates, smaller than the main thing going on next, you can now check your charges left on your Iben staff. And it really only has 25 charges still, I think, so not too helpful. Baby dragons were made smaller because they were clipping. on the border of the squares here. Adamant boots give +1 strength. Rune boots give +2 strength from higher level Slayer monsters. Competing with the climbing boots a little bit here, which is pretty wild. Random chests all around the game no longer contain random junk. You can get your random junk from a few other places if you're so inclined. A glass blower has moved in on Entrana, talking about all the glass blowing you could do there, because they have a sand pit and seaweed spawns. Unfortunately, that is on Entrana, so not going to be going there. Well, we are going to be going to Entrana, but yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. And the main update for the day is all around Lumbridge. New skill tutors, telling you all about your skills, giving you tips of what you could do, handing out basic tools, just overall being very new player friendly. And also to help with that, we got additional things around the area of Lumbridge, like improved signposts. Not these signposts, which just have directions on them. You would click on the signpost and it would pop up a interface showing you which direction things were. And that's just directions on here. Also, there is new information when you die. Tells you how to get your stuff back, where you can get some other stuff back, from like general stores and such. And also in the general stores, you have the newcomer map, that was already here, but it has been updated to be slightly more helpful. Showing you where you are on the map of free-to-play, instead of just being a small map. Because having information of where you are is pretty helpful. There is not any like in-game world map you can access currently. So the newcomer map is about as good as you're gonna get. Also here in Lumbridge, some very, very helpful updates for low-level players. We now have Lumbridge Home Teleport. We don't have it accessed because it's technically a lodestone now. I would argue we can't get this. Lumbridge Home Teleport does not work in combat, so you need to be in a safe location. Doesn't work in deep wilderness, and it only can be activated every 30 minutes. It's also slow, so you have to make a ring around you, and while you wait for the magic to happen, you read a book. Or perhaps the magic is in the book. But yeah, once every 30 minutes, you can go to Lumbridge. Somewhat useful if we had no runes or anything, I guess. Gets us to Lumbridge. We could like run to Alcarid, buy runes or something. But we've got the house now, and that's got teleports to everywhere. Much quicker. Not free though, so there you go. Also, to help quite a bit, once you've teleported to Lumbridge here, you want to probably get to other places, and you can make a lot of progress with that by having access to the new bank here at the top of Lumbridge. Very, very fun for people that can have banks. Well, that's okay. Previously, there was already the bank at the Colonimancer chest down below. But that requires starting recipe for disaster. And that's members only too, so free-to-play bank in Lumbridge up top there. Pretty solid. Really making it a whole starting area here. And the skill tutors are all over the place, ranging all across Lumbridge in relatively obvious spots where you would actually get training on things. One thing that does no longer exist is pretty much all of them. They've been moved around a few times, but overall, everything is kind of gone now, unfortunately. One fun thing here that you could get would be the training sword, training shield, training bow from some of the combat tutor guys here. And also a couple free runes every 30 minutes. No longer exists. That's okay. There's few NPCs around from later Lumbridge updates, but not really any of the tutors per se. A lot of that's been moved to Berthorpe, so that's okay. Some of the stuff that does still exist here, though, going down into the swamp, is changes in the swamp. We got a grapple tree here, which is connected to a raft in the middle of the river. And then later, not so important to have a grapple here. Also get a new low-level fishing spot here, where you get some shrimp and such. Fisherman. That's not the fisherman tutor. That's more for a different thing. And then also a low-level mine down here in this corner. Tin and copper. Actually appropriate mine. Not that we really need bronze too often. That's okay. The other mine that used to be here, and also Father Ernie's house, have been moved over to the western side of the swamp. Now it's been moved back to the southeastern side, and it's a mess. Lots of other things have been added here too, like that. But yeah. The mine is still there. House was over here. That's been moved again. Water altar's been moved. New things. It's not quite the correct ones that are in this other mine still. That's alright. But yeah. Lots of stuff in Lumbridge. And the swamp. Just generally a new player update. Helping to make an area where they can actually learn some stuff. Because as much as completing Tutorial Island and then getting thrown into the game is definitely an experience, having at least some additional guidance for people that want it could be beneficial. Well, that's okay. We are not particularly interested in starting updates, though, of course. So we're going to need to continue on to later stuff. Like on October 2nd, 2006. Behind the scenes for October. We got Halloween, first new room for the player-owned houses, new special capes, some new quests. Obviously we will get to all of these updates as we go. And since it's only on the 2nd here, immediately into the next update. The interfaces have been updated again. Moved the run button down to the bottom of the options menu. So you can switch to the options menu and quickly be able to run. It's a lot easier now since you pretty much never need to stop running. Also, the stats page was turned back to yellow text instead of orange because it was harder to see. And also, a smaller update here. The click box on the spinning wheels was enlarged. Defensive casting with magic was supposed to give magic and defense. Stopped giving defense XP there for a little bit. That's been fixed. You can right-click on your jewelry to teleport while wearing it, instead of having to take it off, teleport, put it back on. Just a little bit more convenient. And most importantly here, obviously, for us, the next quest. Scrolling to Elemental Workshop 2. A sequel to Elemental Workshop 1, shockingly enough. And is a requirement. Also, 20 magic and 30 smithing. Oh boy. Required items, 8 coal, 12 if we want to make something else, but only need 8 coal. And we'll get a pickaxe to go mine that 8 coal. Should be good. The quest starts here at the dig site exam center. Except in 2020, when it stopped starting here, because the bookshelf that you need to search was removed when they changed all the buildings here. Also, a different part of the quest was broken in 2012, So, well, that's a whole thing. Start the quest, Elemental Workshop 2. You find an old-looking book. The Beaten Book. Find a slip of paper that has been used for a bookmark. Put in your pack to study later. Here is the Book of the Elemental Helm. Previously we had the Elemental Shield. This is the second book in a series which aims to preserve the knowledge gained by artisans of the early 5th Age. A thorough grasp of the processes and techniques described in my earlier work, Book of the Elemental Shield, is necessary to comprehend the concepts involved in the more technical chapters of this book. Some years following the original discovery of the elemental ore, further investigation was performed by a metallurgist called Vitrivus, in collaboration with a freelance mage. Over the course of 2 years, they did many tests on the ore and refining metal, aiming to optimize the process by which the metal was extracted from its impure ore. From the data they discovered the optimum temperature and carbon ore ratio for the production of elemental metal of the highest quality. Quality's resulting metal was assessed on the basis of its ultimate tensile strength, hardness, as compared to the standard diamond-tipped probe, magical absorption capacity per unit mass, grain size, and elastic deformation modulus. The most significant discovery in this period, however, was the novel technique of priming the ore. At the time, the significance of priming was not fully appreciated. However, the records kept by Vitrivus state that his apprentice, in an unsuccessful attempt to animate a small ingot of elemental metal as part of a student prank, accidentally instilled his entire consciousness into the primed ingot. An unfortunate side effect of this process was to reduce the apprentice's body to a dead shell. Attempts to return his consciousness to his body were regretfully unsuccessful. Vitrivus discovered that the mental energy was so firmly bound to elemental metal that no dissipation was detectable. Similar experiments with unprimed bars initially yielded comparable results, but the mental energy quickly left the bars and dissipated within such a short period that no practical application seemed feasible. However, the primed elemental metal showed considerably more promise. Researchers have continued to use the terminology defined by Vitrivus for the field of study. In his own notebooks, Vitrivus referred to his preparation techniques as priming, and he referred to his apprentice as idiot, because he instilled his entire consciousness into a metal bar. Also got a scroll here. Down 2N2E, 2N2E, 10N4W, pipe 3. As you do. As you do. Let's go and head over to the Elemental Workshop. Well, that is over in Sears Village. A house telly, a Camelot portal. Technically, we could just teleport to Camelot. It'd be just quicker than go into the house first. But that would cost 5 air runes instead of 1 air rune and 1 earth rune. Savings, technically. Worth it? Probably not. That's okay. Let's get our key here too. The Book of the Elemental Shield. Read it. Need to slash it again, probably. Need to get the key out of here. Or maybe the key got stuck in the door. That's also a possibility. Slash it, drop it, examine it. There's no key in here. Well, we'll try to open the door. See if this works. Yeah, we're fine. Well, don't need that then. Down into the Elemental Workshop, where we use this down and then directions. North and east and north and east and farther north and a little bit west. North and east and north and east. Farther north and a little bit west. Search the machinery. Pipe 3. A hidden key. There you go. Easy as that. Quite a small key for Elemental Workshop 2. Now we go and get the elemental ore that we need from the rock elementals. Earth elementals. We don't need the actual rock bit here, so I can worry about that. This is all from Elemental Workshop 1, where we got all this stuff set up here at the upper floor. So we can just get the ore. It goes all around. We got the bellows pumping, the water wheel turning, the furnace alight. And we can make ourselves some bars. Which is also nice because it saves a bunch of inventory space. So that's a great time. Don't need the pickaxe. And probably don't need the knife either. Open the hatch with the key. And that also takes the key, which is also great. Don't need the scroll. Climb down to the next level of this place, where we once again have a whole bunch of machinery and stuff. Searching all the crates in the entire place here, getting various bits and bobs to fix all the things. Got some schematics, we got some levers all over the place, so many levers. Take a crane schematic, take a lever schematic, search more boxes. Lots of the boxes are also empty, unfortunately. Well, unless you know exactly where you're looking, it's worth it to just keep checking. Got old levers, pullable levers. We got presses and tanks and tunnels and lava. Lots of stuff going on down here in the second level. And also another stairwell even further down. As if we didn't already have enough levels of this place. Wild stuff. Wild stuff. Got a crate here. Nothing in there. Got a broken pipe here, and a pipe we found. Use the pipe on the pipe. Replaced. Don't even need any tools for that. Having pipes that are not broken will probably help quite a bit for this whole process. Finding different sized cogs. We got the schematics. We got a large cog and a medium cog, which kind of stands to reason the existence of a small cog. Continue just searching around. There's a small cog. Well, that all works. So now we have various things here that we obviously need to use for something. That's pretty clear. Read the screen schematic. Schematic drawing details the construction and maintenance of a mechanical arm, while the section you notice is explanation of how to make an elemental claw. And the lever schematic. The lever, you pull it, it goes directions, pull it again, continues, pull, pull, pull. It is a lever, wow. There's the claw. Here's a place to put things. Just place some cogs. There's a big cog. There's a medium cog. And a small cog. Is it rotating? Only one's rotating. Put a medium cog here. Small cog here. Also not all rotating. Visual stuff. The big cog wouldn't fit there is the problem. Medium. Rotating. Let's see if that's right. Anyways. We got information on how to make an elemental claw. So, how about we make an elemental claw? One crane claw. And there you go. I need a hammer for this. Does it need a hammer? Yeah. We'll go get a hammer. Also, the key is actually in here. You search it for the book, and then you keep searching or clicking to get the actual key here. Apparently did not need it to get in here again, but whatever. Now we have it. We use the hammer to make the claw. Tool belt. Very convenient once that exists. Until then, something to be considered. Okay. Claw on crane here. Can't reach that. It's too high up. And these old levers here. This one moves it around. And this one moves it up and down. There you go. And now, we can use the crane claw on the crane. Replace the broken claw. Lovely. Elemental bar on the cart. We can pick up the elemental bar. This whole section here is for the priming process that we read about. Elements and all that. First thing, dunk it in lava. And that's got some very fire element to it. You can tell by the way that it's literally glowing. Bring it back around. Put it back down on the track. Just testing out all the different levers and figure out what's going on. Each one's near one of the things. This one is the cart sign. Pull the lever, moves the cart along, moves it over to the press, where we need to make this work. Because of course, everything is broken. You have various tubes and interface situations. Connect tubes, connect other tubes. I hope I got that right. Well, we'll find out, won't we? Down here, we look into the press here and pull this lever. It swishes it very effectively. That's the power of Earth. Pull lever and the press responds. The hardy comes down, hitting the elemental bar. The bar has been flattened. Very flat, very cool. Not very cool, it's still kind of hot because of the lava, of course. Next section. With even more things, we have a water tank with water valves and corkscrew levers and old levers. This lever opens the door. Corkscrew takes out the pull arm, pulls it back in, close the door, and then we just need to get water in the tank. Got a water valve over here. Close the valve, open the valve. Open the valve, close the valve. Submerged by opening that valve there. Close this valve to stop the water from coming in. Open this valve to let the water out. And then we open the door. And then corkscrew. It's many, many steps here, although pretty quick. And now it's been thoroughly quenched here, so it is no longer hot. It's got all the water power going. And we continue on to the wind tunnel, where it is not wind tunneling. I don't know if the small one should be moving. Flip the lever here. Fan starts to blow. There you go. So now the middle one is also moving. Turn it back off. Because we can't make the cart go past when the wind is blowing. That would just slam it into it. There's a lot of fail safes, so you can't accidentally destroy everything. Here comes our nice bar here. Take from Jig Cart, primed bar. Now we can go check out the next lower level. And the mind door. Open that up. And find this place. Got an extractor gun, an extractor hat, chair area. Looks very safe and very cool. Primed bar under the device. Ready to extract from the operator here. Just blasts out your consciousness, sucks it into this bar. Sucking out your magic level, essentially. And we grab the elemental mind bar. Would be a good time to have some kind of restore potion to get our magic level back up. Well, that's okay. And then we take our mind bar, go up again, and use this to make a mind helmet. New thing. Not a good helmet or anything, but just following the instructions from the Book of the Elemental Helm to make a mind helmet. And that's quest complete. Pretty quick, especially when you know what's going on. Looking through everything, testing everything, figuring out what all the levers do. Having to go and get some elemental metal to try to actually do it. Very little, like, showing you what you need to do for the Elemental Workshop series. No other people around. You're just finding a book, doing stuff. 1 quest point. 7,500 crafting, 7,500 smithing XP. Ability to make elemental helms, mine shields, and mine helms. So yeah, we made the mine helm. You can also go back and make a elemental helm from the just regular elemental bar. Or get another mined bar and make a mined shield. Mine shield would be technically better than the elemental shield for skeletal wyverns because of its anti-wyvern fire properties. We're not really worrying about that though. And there is 68 smithing. That is a level. I need to get up my table of all the smithing things because everything about that's changed. Mining and smithing rework. Alright, let's see here. We've added a few of the new things that you can now smith. Getting close to all the things that are smithable. But there's still more things. Yeah, 68. That is the mithril plate body. We boosted for this level in order to put that in our house. And in other news, it's a quest requirement. And smith or calcum 10% faster. But yeah, we can actually make full mithril. So that's something. Not something helpful, but it's definitely something. Also means we can get a smaller boost if we want to make our adamant axe again. So that's nice. I'll gladly take that. Oh yeah. Elemental Workshop 2. Pretty good XP for the amount of effort there. Crafting and smithing. Not gonna complain about that. There you go. Don't really need the helmet. If we put it on, it does a little magical blast. Very fancy. Very magical. Not very good stats. And alks for at least a bit. You can do that. Alk the magic hat. Definitely not worth making these to alk them. That's not a good money-making method whatsoever. Oh boy. Don't need the keys or these books or the hammer or this other schematic. We'll be returning to the Elemental Workshop a few more times. A couple more times. More stuff is going to be down here, eventually. But not just yet. We need to keep working on Slayer, but first we need to get some more updates. Because very important things are happening. Next time. Goodbye.